Okay, here we are. What I'm planning on doing is recording this right here, and we're going to be shooting out here down into that box. What I'm expecting to do right off the bat is shoot it and then have to tighten the clutch. With all that extra power and the magnets on the motor, that will make the clutch, it'll allow us to tighten it up a lot more, to ram BBs up in there a lot harder. And I'm not sure how much tension's on there. It's probably just about the same amount of tension that I normally do for a 5K build. So I'm guessing that we're going to have to tighten it up considerably. What we're looking for is to have it just before the stall point, and that should give us the highest fire rate. We're going to be using nitrogen, and I think we're going to go ahead and start with 800 psi to just be easy on it, and that'll help us get higher in the fire rate as well. Alright, I went ahead and started it up before I turned the camera on just to make sure everything was going to feed, and it felt like the clutch was already loose, so we'll try it at 4K, pulse of 5, and see how it goes. Sorry I'm not going to be able to let you guys see what's happening down there. You just have to take my word. Yeah, the clutch is really loose. Right off the bat, it's so much louder than a 5K build. I don't know why. Even with the short barrel, it's just really, really loud. So I'm gonna tighten up the clutch and I'll be back. Something worthy of note while we're in here is when I'm building these, sometimes it seems like the motor will be kicked off to one side. Sometimes when I'm having a hard time getting one to work, and I'll open it up and the motor will be cocked to the side. And never really understood why that was, but I can kind of see now, and I thought I'd share it with you. What holds this assembly in place is two little bosses on either side here that butt up to the motor bracket. I don't know how well you can see, but there's one right there and another one right there, and I have to cut them back a little bit so they don't interfere with the motor on like a normal 4K build, 5K build. But we've got an adapter plate on this one, so it really doesn't matter. But I did cut into it right here where I made that cut. It doesn't interfere with where it makes contact with the motor bracket. But you can see the amount of play that's in there. So you're going to have that amount of play in all Blackbird hoppers. And depending on where the clamshells hold it up here, that could knock it out of position and get it lodged in an orientation that you don't want it, where it's not in line with the auger. Seems to me that happened when I have to make the augers for these, and it seems that happened more when the auger was just a tad bit too long. Anyway, that's something I just thought I'd share with you guys. There's going to be that much motor play in your hopper, and be it a 5K, 4K, or just a stock build, you can probably hear it by shaking it. and that's something that I was able to correct when I made these. Well, this one, I'm not sure if the plain one is, if it holds it, but I expanded this one enough to where it pushed on here, and it basically holds the motor where I want it. So we don't have any movement back and forth. But like I say, that's not really a problem unless you get to really tinkering around with them and making your own augers and whatnot. We're just waiting for my neighbor to stop cutting grass, because as soon as he heard that thing, he apparently got the bug and had to go out and start cutting his grass. Anyway, I had a slight leak on the valve, and it's got brand new seals in it. Sometimes when you replace the seals, especially if you only replace the front seal and don't replace your valve seat, what can happen is, if it's a new valve and you've got it on the old valve seat, it'll have the impression of your old valve on that seat. Sometimes it won't want to line up. I'm chalking this up to it's just not the front seal hasn't seated. It's either the front seal hasn't seated because we're only using 800 psi, or when I polished the valve, it got the rim of the valve, it changed it enough to where it's not seating on the valve seat. Anyway, that's not really a big issue at all. I was thinking about why it's so loud. To me, it probably doesn't seem any louder to you, but got that real short barrel on it. I'm inside, and plus that 6S pack is just slapping the shit out of that valve like it owes it lunch money. So I never really have been a huge proponent on the theory that the harder you hit the valve, the more power you get, but there is something to it. How much there is to it, I don't know. It seems to be playing a part in this one for sure. Alright, we're going to try that again. 4K, pulse of 5. Tighten up the clutch. See what happens. Let's go up a little bit. Just see what happens on 6. Pulse of 4. We'll go all the way up to 8. Let's bring our pulse down. Yeah, sticky button. That sucks. Pulse of 3. Seems like it, once it gets going, it's okay. Probably need to drop the pulse a little more. Let's see if it'll work with 1.5. Probably won't. God, that is awesome. Sergey, thank you for giving me the lower pulse. We needed it. Let's just go to 9.2. Having a little trouble there. Can we do 1? half a millisecond of pulse on here. They're worth trying, why not? Does not work. One millisecond. Nope. 1.5. So the solenoid will do 1.5, but it didn't shoot. I might have a jam in here somewhere. I'm gonna unplug the magazine, see if it'll do 10. I'm going to drop the pressure a little bit. We're like right at 550 psi. So the solenoid is doing 10K. Alright, well, I'm going to have to see what's going on inside the hopper, but yeah, I am really surprised that the solenoid is doing 10K. Now, if we can get the hopper to do 10K, we will be doing something, but yeah, I think we've already bested our record. Okay, I took the hopper apart. I didn't see anything obviously wrong. It did look like the auger had jumped out where it's supposed to sit. And something that Bruce does when he shoots really high pressures is what will happen to him is the magazine will push apart there, so you don't, it's not mushroom mag in here, it's mushroom mag in here. And I think that's what happened because I didn't see anything else wrong. I thought maybe I'd burned up the motor. Motor's fine. Got it back together. I might have to put a bolt through there to get everything to work. Maybe I could come up with some kind of a clip to put on that if that is the problem. Need to figure that out first. But yeah, it's pretty sweet knowing that the solenoid will do 10K, even though we haven't gotten the hopper up there yet. When I was just looking at the video when I was shooting 8K with a pulse of 3 milliseconds, and I was saying that it's like it takes it a minute to get going and then it's fine. I think that might have something to do with the magnets. Because when you first fire it up, when you first turn it on, you can hear it takes a second for it to get up to speed. So here's our temporary fix in case that was the issue. As far as the motor getting up to speed, I can't think of a way around that because it has to be spinning at a certain speed to be able to feed the BBs, and when you pull the trigger, the motor starts spinning and the solenoid starts firing, so it has to have enough time to catch up. So that's just going to be a caveat in this design. Couldn't get the vise on there, so I'm just going to hold on to it and see if it's expanding. Hopefully it won't. We've dropped the pressure down to 600 psi. And I'm going to be going for 10K. Well, it did it. It did it, and then it quit just like before, but that was ridiculous. If I can find out what's doing that, I think we could probably get it to do a little bit more. Just by how well that was doing it. Let's see if it'll go 10.5. Looks like 10K is going to be all we can get out of it, but I mean that's a new record. I just need to figure out what's going on in here. Awesome.
That's your big day.
That's my BB gun. I didn't feel the hopper expanding, but when I opened it up, I found this right at the end of the auger. Maybe this was the culprit the other time, and I just put it back in there. Not sure about that, but it seems to be just a problem with the BBs. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Yeah, I'm about to go celebrate because I feel confident that I found the limit of this thing after all these years. And tomorrow, the band over there is about to start practicing, so I can't really shoot anymore. But tomorrow, I'm going to make, planning on making a video of shooting. I'm going to make some kind of a Picatinny mount for a GoPro or maybe my phone, and I'll get to show you guys what 10K looks like destroying something. Alright, later.